A few weeks ago, I found myself crammed in a small apartment performing an epic arrangement of one of my songs alongside 43 first-rate musicians. It was one of the most inspiring experiences of my life, and the video of it just came out on the Apartment Sessions YouTube channel. I wanted to offer this little documentary to look deeper into what Apartment Sessions is really about.
I think it's about the community. I think the music is fun to play and the videos are really cool. The product of Apartment Sessions is like the experience in the room, and what we're putting on YouTube just happens to be a video of that.
as well as we
can capture.
Grab it. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone that walks through that door is family. That's like how it feels to me. And like not really having like my own like actual family, like this has been really helpful for me as a person to like grow and feel good. To have such a supportive, loving group of people that come together and create stuff, which is like to me the most valuable thing.
Really some of the best and brightest of New York City's like young musicians are just kind of flock to this, honestly. A big part of the draw is just the sense that you're being part of something a little bit bigger than yourself.
I've certainly become like addicted to it. Like I am afraid of losing this wealth of people.
And we practiced this choreography the night before.
What does he do? Oh yeah, and then Gene is sitting here and Gene's like...
We usually work late into the night. Evan will be mastering, and then I'll be like asleep, and then they'll send the final master, and then I will wake up and Evan goes to sleep, and then I'm working on like syncing the last like little bits of it, and then like I send it to Luke and I call him to wake him up to watch it to make sure that everything is lined up.
I try to make sure that I know every measure of everyone's part, and that's not too difficult because I'm usually spending so many hours looking at the parts and thinking about them while they're being written.
I used to go like measure by measure with Luke about all the stuff that we wanted to capture. Now I just know his arrangement style. I can make those choices in room easier, just like listening.
By the time it's time to print, I've looked at each measure of everyone's part a couple hundred times and moved eighth rests around and stuff, so it's actually, it kind of just sinks in, kind of on my phone on the train or whatever. I'll just look through everyone's part and like read it as if I'm that person and think to myself like, do I have any questions about this? Is anything unclear? And then I'll jot down another note in my phone of things that I'm gonna have to watch out for.
We do a lot of planning, but then a lot of like, you have to be okay with last minute changes and not be worried about it.
And I'll end up mixing sort of per room, because there's always bleed within the room, even when we have fairly directional microphones in the room. So it's much easier to plan for it that way. It'll be the string room, which is 4 strings, and they will get their own bus, and then that bus will become what I automate volume-wise. And then there'll be the brass room with saxophones, and their room is like all condenser mics, so it's just gonna be this wash of sound. Hopefully we picked up everybody somewhat evenly. The percussion room obviously will get its own bus. Yeah, and then this room will probably get divided into like keys, violins. Keys will include Chin-Chin's Malacat. Timpani will probably join the percussion room. Gene's mic will join the percussion room. This piano will go with the keys, that kind of a thing. Like dividing up things into like groups, I guess.
Not to mention there's 2 more guitars, a whole choir, me, oh yeah, and also a harp and banjo in the bathroom. Hey. We're in the arranger's room. This is where they spend their days. Luke and Nate arranged the beginning.
That is correct, that's right.
And then Drew down with the Kraz section.
I broke
He also wrote it.
And then Adam, you hit the climax.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I was gonna do the outro too, but I sort of ran out of time, so I asked two of my other friends one of them to do the instrument parts and one of them to do the vocal parts, and then I put them together. Jakob Reinhardt did the guitar and harp and banjo stuff. Ethan Crystal did the vocals. The original track had like a lot of like produced percussion that was like moved around and it was flamming and sounded like metallic stuff.
Ring through your nose and let the vultures grab at it. Snow hair, frost brow, big house, moved out, sunbox, mothballs, drove so far to rock out.
And so Nate and I wanted to sort of try to emulate that live.
I had a break disc hookup, and then we also had an orchestral anvil hookup, and then Luke and Evan actually turned out to be the road sign hookups.
There's something about how percussionists think that is a little bit suspect, but also like really fun when you get a bunch of them in a room. Like they just, what does this sound make?
The string players too, we had a shot of the string players in there playing on the cello with beer cans and like doing this really metal sound. Everyone really went for it.
I think one of the biggest challenges was trying to sort of emulate that elastic, more like, you know, human organic feel, or like the kind of Jay Dilla vibe. Rendering that with conventional music notation is like near impossible. It's almost like notation quantizes in its own way. So like, I feel like including little ghost notes for flams, we did that. We also had a lot of text descriptions saying like kind of how the groove like flexed and breathed on its own.
One thing that's been really exciting about writing for all these different players is that specifically for drums, we can write for a lot of acoustic things like concert bass drum and like real stuff like rain stick and real triangle and real wind chimes and real cowbells and stuff. Real timpani.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then we also have electronic stuff. So we have like an SPD, like a Roland thing. And then we also have a beatboxer, Gene Shinozaki, and a couple other beatboxers. And for them, it's like a grab bag. You can write for anything at all and they can make pretty much any sound.
Gene, like he is just incredibly musical with how he approaches things, and he wants to kind of expand the repertoire of what vocal percussion is.
What's a Kraz section? Where'd that come from? Drew Krasner.
It's a pretty good question. When I first got involved in this project, Luke asked me to work a little bit on the arrangements, and then it ended up being a kind of an institution in and of itself of this is something in apartment sessions arrangements where you know you're going to get this kind of, it's usually an interstitial in between section that you're going to get that's original material.
I enjoyed fucking it up over and over again.
Oh, hello, Ben.
Oh, hey, Adam.
Arranging for 43 musicians in an apartment.
For my section, and it was kind of fun how like we divvied it up. Basically what I did was it was kind of an interesting process. I took the original recording of Grown Up and I completely high-passed all of the low-end information. And what I did is I kind of just started improvising with distorted 808, like 808s, distorted 808s, and I was just trying to find rhythms and tones that I liked with the 808s that went with your, like the recording, like this recording that just had all the low-end information like taken out of it. So I basically just came up with like this demo for myself that was just that, and then afterwards I kind of scored it for the whole band. This is sort of the orchestration thing that I've been working on for a while, where I'll take, for example, groups of brass instruments or saxophones, and I'll voice them instead of like, you know, just a single big like a C. And on the score, I think I just wrote honk on honk in all caps. What I'll do is I'll voice it as a power chord. So for the saxophones, it would be C on the bottom, two baritone saxes, Jared Yee and Josh Plotner. Big low C naturals on the bottom, but then stacked up as a power chord, but also in that power chord there's a B natural. So it's going to be C, G, B natural, and then a C on top. So you get this half step on top, which creates this incredible dissonance low in the register. And horn players hate it. In fact, they were like, "Are you sure this is what you want?" Yeah. And I'm like, "Yeah." When it's mixed and in the mix, you'll hear it, and it's going to be like, "Oh my God, that's insane! What is like this distorted thing?" And I love the sound of this, and it's just like honk, daga honk, talk, gah. If you just put everybody on one note, it doesn't have that same sort of grindy, gritty effect, which comes from like low distorted guitars. It just sounds like a bunch of people playing a low note, which is, you know, fun too. But I thought I really wanted to like bring out all that stuff. There was another moment that was fun orchestrating for, because I know you've talked about a lot, you really like the flow of Kendrick Lamar and was really influenced by To Pimp a Butterfly. In modern rap music, modern hip hop music, there's a lot of triplet flow that's just like part of the like language now, and you included this triplet section, sister, brother, mother, lover, father, daughter, dead grandmother. And you're rapping in this sort of like triplet sort of pattern, but what I did to sort of really bring out that is something called a metric modulation, or an implied metric modulation, where the triplets then start to sound like eighth notes in a faster tempo. I sort of like broke up the whole orchestra to sort of be triplified. The tempo of this is like 95, but when you do the metric modulation, it all of a sudden sounds like it's at 140-ish. I don't know the math. I'm just a musician. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
Making our way to the toilet.
You rap the first verse and then place the mic on your guitar amp, pick up your guitar, so the same two inputs can become your guitar inputs, and then go again for the final verse, and then drop it, and then go to the bathroom.
Yeah, the bathroom is sort of a sacred spot, only reserved for the most beautiful instruments, like Ben Levin.
Comment, like, and subscribe.
Please make that.
Please, can that be the end?